Got to build your hopes on things. No. Oh, to God's changing hand. Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. Time is filled with swift transitions. Not on earth unmoved can stand. Build your hopes on things eternal. Hold to God's unchanging hand. You gotta hold to His hand. God's unchanging hand. You gotta hold to His hand. God's unchanging hand. That's a great song right there. Build your hopes on things eternal. That's Jenny Wilson, F.L. Elon. That's great stuff. Trust in Him who will not leave you. I can go all night with that, but I got to get to the show. We want to talk about this topic right here. We're talking about the Edit to the Loan, Bishop Eddie Long. Some of you haven't seen it yet, but you're about to see it on this show right here and right now. Sirwalterj Jones Show. Bass.
It's the show that will get you thinking, and where the topics are hot. Feel free to comment whether we agree or not, 'cause he's got something to say. Sirwalterj Jones. Sirwalterj Jones. He's got something to say. Sirwalterj Jones. Sirwalterj Jones Show.
Come on in. The water's fine. Oh. Hello, everybody. The Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm he. It is the evening edition, weekend edition, baby. How y'all is? Come on in. What's fine. Good to see Akins and Collins and Hawkins and Bianca and Waiting on the King. Regina Nelson is here, and Truth Wins is here, and Hargrave came on time. Percy Fountain joined her on time. Seals is here, and Fraser and Bellany and McDaniels. I'll see him this week. Johnson and Jones and Carter, a whole bunch of y'all here. All right, I want to talk about this, Kevin Page. I know you are interested in knowing how I'm going to spend this show on the Bishop Paul Morton doing the things that he do with the musicians. Victoria Carter, blessings to you. Listen, I've done too many of these shows, the Lula B, when it comes to how musicians are treated in Christendom. I've talked too many times about how musicians are treated, Tam Lloyd, and how musicians are praised in Christendom. So today's show going to feel bipolar. I said Paul Morton, didn't I? Did I say Eddie Long? I thought I said Paul Morton. So today is going to feel bipolarish because there are a lot of musicians who hit me up and says, how dare he? A lot of the pastor says, good, it's about time somebody finally addressed the well, not finally, but again, pretty much addressed the musicians for what they're doing. Okay. I said Eddie Long? I don't know. Oh, that's probably because I'm going to bring up Eddie Long's name tonight. And then there were others who hit me up in the thing and said, Cynthia, I don't like what he did and what he said. Okay, so the many of the musicians didn't like it. Many of the pastors did like it, and then there were musicians and pastors who had split emotions. All right, so I went down into the file cabinet, the research department of the Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm going to bring out some of the files down through the years of the shows I've done on these types of situations to let you know that this thing here ain't getting no better, y'all. It ain't getting no better. But the fact that we're talking about it is a good thing, because back in the day, we were not allowed to talk about it. Yeah, you knew I was talking about, Keys. Because why did I say Eddie Long? That's something else. Something else. Yeah. All right. So, have you ever heard your father or your mother says, "When I was your age," or "When I was young"? Well, here I go, boys and girls. Here I go. When I was a young musician, I enjoyed church. I enjoyed the Word of God. I enjoyed the fellowship. I enjoyed the camaraderie. And I also, although it was an embarrassing thing to do, I come up under the Mattie Moss Clark experience. Y'all have to understand. My father, Lawrence Cleveland Jones, brought us up in the Church of God in Christ. And as soon as we were able to say Gaga Google, he put an instrument in our lap and told us, "You must play something." And so all of my brothers play an instrument, and then we had children, and they all play instruments as well. Our children are traveling around the world, okay, servicing many of the artists that y'all have in your CDs and your iPods and blah, blah, blah. All right? But it comes up under the Church of God in Christ. It was every year when we would travel to Mason Temple, when the convocation was going on at the Cook Convention Center in Memphis. When it was over around 10:30, 11, we would have to go down to Mason Temple. That's where Martin Luther King gave his last sermon before he was assassinated. Okay, y'all know the Great Mason Temple. And that's where I and my brothers would play our instruments all night long, every day during the convocation. We would start around 11, something like that, and we wouldn't end until 5 in the morning, maybe 6 o'clock when the sun was rising. And then we would go to breakfast after that. That was the norm for us, and we cut our teeth in the Church of God in Christ. You understand? That's right, Lucy. Yeah, and so we were inspired to listen to the Word of God, and that's why it is no surprise that out of all of the musicians that my father raised up, most of us are now wearing this collar. I'm sorry, this rope. We're wearing the rope. We are ministers, licensed, ordained elders. Why? Because that's the way it was in the Old Testament. And unfortunately, we do too much of the Old Testament, so you got to be careful. But the Levites were of the Levitical priesthood. You understand? So they serviced the church in almost all things. Okay, there were the priests and there were the Levites, and the Levites were the doorkeepers, they were the janitors, and they were the musicians. They were anointed, and David he selected them. They were skilled. You look at the sons of Asaph. Okay, they were very skilled men, and they were handsomely taken care of, y'all. You understand? David took good care of the Levitical priests, the Levites, all right? And so it's no surprise that many musicians today who are instrumentalists, they then turn into preachers. Probably 85% of the musicians that I come up with, that is on my plane, meaning we're around the same age and what have you, in the 1980s, most of them are now pastors, and superintendents and bishops. You understand? That's just the way it was. So this breed of musicians today, I don't know who y'all are. Because when I was coming up, we were not allowed to move away from our post of duty, from our jobs. And they did not pay us. I'm not telling y'all you shouldn't get paid today. I'm glad you are getting paid. All right. But they did not pay us financially. We wasn't looking for it. It was not the era. It just wasn't that type of season for us. We were coming up and we enjoyed the musicianship, the worship. And so we played because we wanted to play. That's why there was 10 drummers surrounding the drums, couldn't wait for their turn. They wasn't going to the pastor's office after church for a check. They just could not wait their turn. My best friend Buddy Gill, he would go to the Thompson Community Singers. He would go down there Sunday nights to Milton Bronson's services, and he would play the conga. Just play the conga, and then the other musicians were getting paid, and he didn't realize that they were getting paid. He was just doing that because he loved it. And then Milton Bronson called him in the back, said, "Hey, all right, here's yours." He like, "Wait a minute, y'all mean to tell me y'all get paid for this?" Y'all actually get paid for this? Okay, so we did it because we loved it. We enjoyed it. Then somebody started to pay me. And then I realized, wow, what a blessing. I was getting $25 a Sunday. I was married with children, and the pastor decided to give me $25. And I thought, wow, what is this for? Because I was doing it because I really enjoyed it. Not realizing that the churches that were around me were paying their musicians handsomely at the time. Now, back then, if you got $150 for being a musician, man, you was doing good. I'm talking early 80s. You was doing pretty good. And so when somebody offered me a gig for $250, I thought, man, ain't no musicians getting this kind of money. Not in Chicago. Ain't nobody getting this. I didn't understand the situation. All right. And so that $25, I stretched it. I saved it. I gave my little tithe, my little offering, and what have you. I was just excited that this was happening. The problem with the payment, though, y'all, and unfortunately, this does happen sometimes, is that when you start paying somebody to do something in church, then they begin to look for the payment more so than the service. Giving the service, you understand? And so before you know it, that church that you love playing music for with your minstrel gift became less of ministry and more a music business than music ministry. So it became a job, and that's why the young people began to call the churches gigs. I even began to call it a gig as I was getting more. The pastors will come and start bidding for my services. We'll be in a service about my pastor's anniversary, and then the preacher who just got through preaching would pull me to the side and say, "Y'all know the $100,000 question that the guest pastor preacher is going to ask the musician: Is this man taking good care of you, or are you happy here?" Y'all know what that means, right? I felt insulted when they would do that. How? This man invited you here, and here you are trying to take his man. How insulting that is. How much? And so they would bid on me. All right. And back in the day, $250, and then it go up to $300, and then went up to $400. And I thought, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. Until I found out some of my other musicians were getting $500, $600, $700. I was like, okay, yeah, I may need to go into this ministry. All right. Which brings up a point I've made over the years. If these pastors insist on calling musicians Levites, why do many musicians have to struggle? Levites were taken care of. Exactly, Tam. And that's why I hate that term, title of Levites. You guys are not Levites. I'm sorry to tell you that. Yeah, you're not Levites. If the musician is a paid musician with no ties to the church, then he can leave. It's yep. That's it. That is it. Yes. Church musicians will not play unless you pay them. Today they enjoy getting paid, not using. True. But I got to say something. I got to dig into this thing a little deeper. That's also the time when we, yeah, yeah, that's it. All right. So you are not Levites. You have to understand that, because if you are a Levite, if you call me a Levite, I'm in my mid-50s. Okay. And as it pertains to a Levite, I should not be working. The scripture says that a Levite must retire at the age of 50. And many of my musician friends are in their 60s who are still gigging, who still need that gig because they did not do proper investments and savings and putting this away and stop living off of liabilities and expenses and more so buying assets and storing up. They didn't do it. The average musician who don't have a regular job, we call them regular jobs because, that's an insult too. The average musician don't have health insurance, life insurance, especially life insurance. You don't have it. Okay. So, he don't. And they've made so much money. I know musicians today who making over $80,000, maybe $100,000 a year, and he do not have a death plan, meaning if he died today, he got children. The average musician on my level have a family, and even if he's divorced, separated, okay, he still got a family. I mean, he got kids, and if he died today, there will be a GoFundMe that's going to hit y'all's Facebook pages. That's a freaking shame. What did you do with your money? And what is the church teaching you on Sunday mornings, Bible study, what have you, if you even go to those things? What are you being taught in your church? You understand? So it's disheartening. Because when COVID came, I lost a lot of musicians' friends. And guess what? They had to pass the offering plate at the funeral. Understand? So I know that's not this show, and I did that show already. It makes me sick. You can go to my Facebook account and you can see, and YouTube, where I did a show about musicians are dying every month. I think I call it The Musicians Are Dying Every Month or something like that. And I did a whole hour and a half, I think, and I talked about insurance and all that stuff and what's going on. But today it's about the embarrassment. Why are we embarrassing the musicians, and is it justifiable to embarrass the musicians? Okay. Where do I start, man? I have let's go back to Paul Morton originally. I would say 2011, when he first came on the scene with his video trended because he was preaching, and he did this.
2006, there is a God with cancer in my body. I said there's a God greater than cancer. He was wounded for my transgression. Do I have another musician here? He was bruised for my iniquity. The chastisement of...
Can I get another musician here? That video went viral, and the musicians were so upset about that little piece of video that they were coming on doing their own separate Facebook Lives. Some of y'all remember that. Just went off. I understand. I need you people to understand something very important about musicians. We are very sensitive people. We are a sensitive generation. If you want to call us a tribe, call us a tribe. We are extremely sensitive. And when we put so much effort, so much work, blood, sweat, tears, when I was coming up, we wasn't getting paid, so we had to use our own expenses. We bought our own drumsticks and we bought our own keyboards, all right? And we went to all the rehearsals and we went to all the revivals and all the musicals, all that stuff, with no payment, all right? we'll go through all of that to strengthen our craft or what have you, and then we get to church, and then someone over the microphone does this. They just do their little feather thing, all right, and they embarrass the musician. That is very difficult to recover from, especially when you are not being treated with respect. There is no appreciation. You understand? Okay, so when you trust me, there's a few times when I was on the organ playing for someone well known in the local circles, and I'm on the organ, and then she'll say, where the other musician at? Is he gone? Is he gone? I ain't saying no names because some of y'all know them. I'm gonna use several examples of stuff that happened to me in here in Chicago, and y'all know all of them. Where that other musician at? And I'm sitting there like, wow. What do I do now? The girl over there in the alto section, I was winking at her because I've been trying to get her on the date for the past 6 months. I was wearing the best clothes and playing the best runs, and I was just trying my best to impress her and then I get embarrassed. Now she like, I guess I'm gonna have to look at the bass drum, the guitar player, because apparently he more professional than this guy sitting on the organ who just got embarrassed by the national evangelist. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm used to seeing. My brother Rodney had his first experience with Mattie Moss Clark. UNAC came to Chicago in 1981, 82, 83, somewhere around there. It was downtown, and I remember my brother Rodney sitting on the drums. He was just sitting there waiting on his turn. You got to understand, my brother Rodney was well known in Chicago by being one of the great drummers in Chicago. All right, that was way back in the day in the 70s. He was the man. You talking about he had the Buddy Rich, what is his name, style. He would turn while he was doing his rolls, and I mean he was just a bad brother. He sat on the drums because Mattie Mouse was getting ready to go over this new song, and Twinkie Clark was on the organ, and her daughters were there, okay, and he was just sitting there getting ready to help her. He ain't played not one note, and then Mattie would say, all right, y'all, sopranos. And she turned to my brother Rodney and she said, you don't even look like a drummer. Give me a real drummer, because you don't even look like a drummer. Let me tell you, I was sitting there. I watched it. Now I was a little boy then. Well, not a little boy. I was a teenager then. So I was playing saxophone then. So I really didn't know the piano back then. But my heart dropped because that woman embarrassed my brother, and my brother kindly he took his stick bag and he got off the drums and he walked into the audience. And Karen Clark Sheard got on the drums. Now, many of you don't know that Karen does play the drums. That's right, First Lady of the new presiding bishop. She plays the drums. So she got on the drums. And then she turned to my brother Rodney and asked him for the sticks, because there wasn't no sticks. My brother Rodney was like, oh, no, I'm not a drummer. Remember? I'm not a drummer. And he took his sticks and walked out. And I guess she found sticks somewhere. And he was hurt by that situation. Well, fortunately for him, I think it was the same day or the next day, he bumped into Mattie Moss Clark in the hallway. He bumped into her. And he says, excuse me, can I talk to you? She said, yes, young man. He says, Madam Clark, what do we call her then? Was she doctor then? I'm not even know if she was a doctor then. I can't even remember. He says, I didn't like what you did. Now, my brother's last name is Jones. So it really makes sense what he was getting ready to say to her, because y'all know me. I ain't scared of nobody. I don't pander to no one. I'll tell you about yourself in front of yourself, okay? So he said, I don't like what you did. What's what? He says, I hadn't played a note. I just sat there and you embarrass me in front of all these people saying that I'm not a drummer. She says, oh, so you trying to prove to me that you're a drummer. And you, what did she say? She says, so you all hearty now. You know, you all this. And she turned, I'm telling you, it's a true story, y'all. She turned and her gold records were on the wall. She had brought her gold records. All right. Y'all know it's encased. Hey, my brother in Jones fashion, when she turned to her gold, she says, I didn't get this gold record for doing nothing but just flapping my hands. I know what I'm doing. And my brother says, oh, so I'm the hardy one. I'm the one bragging about my ability, but yet you the one sitting here bragging about your gold records. And she said, oh, okay. Now they ain't going back and forth. And I'm like, can we go? And she then relents. This is the first time I've ever seen Maddie Moss Clark. She relents and says, you know what? I like you. You all right. I need you to show up at rehearsal tonight at 7:00 and bring your stuff. That's what she told my brother. And I think I got that same spirit, because as I got older, I got bolder in my musicianship, and I said, I will not let nobody try and publicly embarrass me if I'm in the right. Only if I'm in the wrong, I'm just gonna have to take it and grit it. All right. And I remember my former pastor, you know, he tried to find clever ways to get me to do stuff that I didn't want to do. And one of the big things is where I'm playing the instruments and people are shouting and jumping, and then he get up there and he talks about, well, I never see the musician dance. The musicians don't speak in tongues, and the musicians don't give, and the offering, and they stingy, and the musicians don't dance. Y'all need to give a holy dance. I need the musicians to do a holy dance. I'm like, okay, I'm playing. Y'all need to get up and dance sometime. The musicians need to shout. So I couldn't take it no more. So after service, y'all know I had a coming to Jesus meeting with my pastor, right? I said, Pastor, yes, son. You didn't pay me to dance. Huh? You brought me into this church. You gave me a salary. That's why I'm here. You don't pay me to dance. If you want me to get off the instrument and start dancing, who gonna play the instrument? Well, son, we don't always need musicians. I said, okay. Then you got to revert back to my original statement. You want me to dance before you. You want me to give you a show. You want me to give the people a show by dancing in front of you. Does that make me more saved because I danced before you? I dance at home. Why you should dance at church? No, I dance at home. I don't need to dance in front of you. He was peed off by that statement. He was upset with me. But as he thought about it and pondered over it at home, he had to tell me, you know what? I'm going to have to agree with you there. Shortly after that, another famous person comes to my church as a guest. And he decides to embarrass me while I'm on the organ. He younger than me. And he directing the choir, teaching choir songs, and I'm playing the song as he wrote it. And he decides to stop the musicians. Look, you look at me, young man. He talking to me. I was the only musician up there other than the drummer. He looks at me and said, you follow me. That's why I'm here and you over there. You understand what I'm saying? You need to follow my instructions. He talked to me like I was 10. And I couldn't take it no more. So I said, okay. I started playing. I did all his little fancy things that he needed me to do. I played it the way he said play it, okay? Because he changed it midstream, so he got mad at me for no reason. I played it the way the CD was. And I'm playing. And when we got through, when he got through with his session, he getting ready to walk away. And I said, preacher, can you come here for a minute? And my minister of music and her director and my musicians, they all went, oh my God. oh, they already knew. I said, come here. Let me talk to you. He said, yeah, bro. I said, what was that? He said, what? I said, that. What was that? What do you mean? Why would you come to my house? Now, y'all know what I mean by that when I say my house, right? We brought you into my house. And you going to sit there in front of my people and ruffle your feathers to show that you usurp some kind of authority over me, and I'm not even the musician for this recording. I'm a rehearsal musician. I'm not the session guy. I'm helping you out. And you come here to embarrass me? Oh, no, you know how we are. No, how are we? What is this? How are we? Oh, I got so peed off. And if it wasn't for the Spirit of God that had to quail and soothe me, I think I would have had some choice words for the preacher. Now, he was a well-known pastor, but I had to let him know, you ain't gonna come to my house and stomp on my head like that. And I'm not even the guy. I'm not even getting paid for this rehearsal. Now, he apologized, and, we're close friends to this day. But that peed me off. So I'm trying to tell y'all, you can't just talk to musicians any kind of way because you got some kind of a gold record or you an apostle or chief apostle or a legislative prophet, derivative superintendent, all kind of names that y'all done pushed in there. You can't just say whatever you want to, because you got to understand, first and foremost, musicians are very sensitive to our craft. You understand? We're very sensitive to our craft, and we don't just take that mess. Blessed to you, Brother Ferris Evans Jr., one of the greatest musicians and producers and songwriters here in the greater Chicagoland area. He understands. He understands. I left the music ministry after 20 years. God told me to perform. Come on, I know what y'all going through, all right? So when he did this, Paul Morton, when he did this in 2011, it upset so many musicians, because it's like, what do you mean? Is there another musician in the house? Okay? Now, some of you missed the rebuke of Paul Morton to Eddie Long. All right. Now, you didn't miss it. Y'all saw where he rebuked it. And this is why I said Eddie Long at the beginning of this show. Paul Morton rebukes Eddie Long openly. Okay. And then he says something so gripping that the audience began to applaud and the musician play, and Paul Morton turns around and he was getting ready to rebuke the musician. Most of you missed it, but I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to have to fast forward it.
Bring forth therefore. That's why I love you, my brother. Like, I love you. Repent. Don't worry about folk now. God can turn your situation around and give you a second chance. Just repent. It is very...
When he turned around to the musician. Now, I know that video is kind of low. He didn't want them to get the musicians to stir up where it seemed like he was beating up Eddie Long. But here's the thing. He let the audience applaud, but the musicians couldn't play. You understand? So what is that? That's a tough thing when you when you play, that's why I refuse to play for people who are famous. I refuse. I don't do that stuff no more. I don't do it. I ain't doing it. All right. But those are the kind of things that you got to deal with. Now, that doesn't mean that the musician should do whatever he wants to. Yes, there should be order in the church, and there are times for open rebuke. All right. I'm going to get to that video for the purpose of this show. There's time for open rebuke. But sometimes pastors get in their egos get in the way. And then there's power and then there's control. I'm reading y'all's comments there, Patrick Johnson and Kevin Page. That power and that control and sometimes that Jezebelian type thing. Witchcraft is used and sorcery, all kind of stuff is used. And y'all don't even know that stuff's been used. And I think some of these ministries have turned into borderline cults. Okay? Borderline. Now, I'm not saying Paul Morton is that. I'm not whatsoever. I appreciate him, and I believe that his ministry is sound and his teaching is sound. But sometimes what we do is we do get too caught up in moments where we say things because we have righteous indignation, and then it's collateral damage. All right? Perfect example was this show I did on Dorinda Clark. Let me see. Matter of fact, can I go to? Yeah. Notice this sucker here. I did this in 2019. Yeah, it was 2019. Can y'all see that? Yeah. 27,000 views. I ain't even know that. Good Lord. Good Lord. Okay. All right. That show was so upsetting to the musicians that they were calling in. All right. This Rodney East called in. Matthew Long was on the organ at the time. Now, how did Matthew Long get on the organ? Because that was supposed to have been my gig. Bishop Robert Sanders was the bishop at the time. It was their state convocation. I was the state musician for third jurisdiction, even though I was a member. I'm a part of the first jurisdiction in Chicago, but I was hired as a third jurisdiction musician. Well, I got tired. I just was tired. I was burnt out, and I said just before the convocation happened, I says I can't do it. Get somebody else. I just don't feel like coming every day, having to sit there and don't know what somebody gonna say, what somebody gonna do, somebody gonna sing in the key of Obadiah, somebody gonna get upset, somebody gonna say something embarrassing. I can't do it. I'm just tired of these things, these conventions. I really am. As a musician, I am. And so I said, find somebody else. Matthew Long was up, and he just happened to be on the organ this particular day. All right.
That I am what I am. I am still here. He ain't ever played my CD. It's by the grace, the grace of God. Thank you very much. The grace of God to go on YouTube tonight and let me know you've been there so you can get that chord right. Oh.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff right there. Now, trust me, all of the Clark sisters seen that video because I've got some inbox messages to prove it. Yeah, I got some inbox messages to prove that they all saw it. Yeah, they all saw it. All right, let me not say this because I got to be careful what I say. All right. So the musicians came forth and they were just fed up with that. All right. Now, whose fault was it that night? Was it anybody's fault? You understand? Was it anybody's fault? Number one, this young man was put into a precarious situation. And what was that? He didn't know that, well, he heard the song, but he didn't know what she was going to do. So there's a fight here, because I talked to Matthew Long. He came on that show, so go to YouTube. Amber Rogers is putting the link there. Go there, and he talked about what actually happened. Matter of fact, he said, I don't know why y'all getting upset. I wasn't upset. I ain't offended, you know. And he said, it ain't bothering me. Y'all the one bringing this up. Okay. He heard the song. He told me he did. He heard the song. But here's the problem. If you know you're coming to a particular city. Craig Milan, what are you saying? But that was actually her fault. She liked a different way, and that is known. She should have. As I was beginning to speak, Craig Milan was typing it. If you're coming to a city and don't know who gonna be on the instrument, number one, you make sure that the organizers get that music to the musician. Number two, or you bring your own. You understand? Number three, you sing in a can. Now, that depends on how many of y'all saw the movie called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? They paying people $100 to sing in the can. Or was it $10? How much was it? All right. You sing in the can, and you send the can to the jurisdiction or to the musician. And then he can. So nobody told the man what y'all was going to sing. You just got up there and started to sing it, and then you did the Dorinda thing he's not used to playing behind you. Now, some of you musicians are like, hey, as if you're a musician playing for a jurisdiction and you can pay it, you should be able to do this, you should be able. That's your story. But this is not a one size fit all, because I consider myself a professional musician, and I've seen people get up there to sing a hymn that I know, yet I can't follow you. Because your runs are all over the place, and you get mad at me because your runs are all over the place. And I can't catch your run. I'm tired because you're running. Yeah, Marvin, I'm getting there. Yep, I'm getting there. Yep. That's it, Marvin. I'm there. I think she was ending the song, but he kept going, yeah. She was doing the turnaround. She was going to the 6, and he went to the resolve. He had called her. She says, thank you, because he caught her. Then the next time she was getting ready to do another round, and he resolved it, and then she was like, study my music. You understand? Well, I don't know if you're going to resolve or not. I don't know if you're going to, do the round or not. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I get tired of this stuff. Yeah, yeah, I'm tired because you're running. Makes no sense. So you can't keep beating up the musicians because they don't know your style. So now you tell them to go on YouTube and listen to the CD. For what? Is he going to be your traveling musician from this gig on? Why does he need to study your music? I just don't understand it. All right. So pastors and evangelists and what have you, they got a habit of embarrassing people. Y'all remember a few weeks ago, I did the Juanita Bynum thing, and she decided to bring this woman's name. This woman who just decided to type on the thing, her name became famous all of a sudden, and she would not relent. Bynum, she just wouldn't let it go.
Linda Wilson. Because listen, if I'm a Jezebel, I'm God's kind. You want to say something on my page, I'm going to say something back. That's right. That's right. Come on, bring it. Bring it. Because you got the right one. Next, which one of y'all want to say something? When I go to your page, you are a nobody. This is your biggest platform. So where is your following? Since you got so much to say, where is your following? When was the last time somebody got out of a wheelchair with you, Linda Wilson? When was the last time a blinded eye will open with you? I'm not hearing y'all. When was the last time cancer dropped out of somebody's body? When was the last time you raised the dead? Because I have in the power of God. Where is your works? Y'all go and look her up. Go to Linda Wilson's page and look her up and see that. Am I right? About don't even have 20 likes on nothing you have posted. That's them 6 like people who want some attention. That's them 3 like people. That's all. Watch this. That's them people that don't post nothing but themselves posing all the time. What a difference.
Yeah, I had to stop that because it drives me crazy. Drives me crazy when I see some stuff like that. I sat up under ministries like that, y'all. I sat up under that kind of flesh. I'm trying to help you. Now, Linda Wilson is a different situation, but I'm trying to help your ministry. I'm trying to help you sound good, look good. I'm here. I've never been late to church, y'all. I'm from the old school. We didn't come to church late. You understand? We dress a certain way, and I'm not saying you always got to wear a suit and tie at church. That ain't me. I'm old school. I prefer suit and ties. But I'm not saying that musicians should always have to wear a suit and tie. No, that's not me. But I will say, you musicians who come to church with wrinkled white T-shirts, you crazy. And everybody else in the house was with nice pressed clothes. They may not have suits and ties and all that stuff, but their clothes is decent enough to go down there to at least the White House or to the Capitol building or to some kind of meeting where, I don't know, we will go to a party and dress to the T. We go hang out with our friends because it's a weed fest. They having a weed fest over here. We ain't went to weed fest. And you go there to the weed fest and dress nice to the weed fest. But you come to church with a wrinkled, stained, white T-shirt. You're crazy. What that says is this is just a gig for you, and you really don't care. You just want to play your rehearsed songs, get your check, and get out of there to get to the next gig. That is arrogance, Jenkins, and you don't care. But if you got a speeding ticket and you had to go to court, before you left the house to go see the judge, you put on something nice. You would not wear the wrinkled white T-shirt. You wouldn't do it before the judge. No, you wouldn't. But somebody made you believe that you could just come as you are. What you did was you took that to the extreme. You don't have to dress like me, musicians. This is just me. But you took that to the extreme. You would never see me in my T-shirt. Ever. You understand? Even if you came to my house, even if the mailman came to the house, knocked on the door to give me a package, he or she will never see me in a wrinkled T-shirt or my pajamas. They don't. I say, drop it there on the porch, please. I'll be out to get it. That's how old school I go back. My mother was forbidden to wear rollers in her hair to go outside and sit on the porch. My father would forbid it. There was no robe. Y'all now going to Walmart with your pajamas on. So this generation, I don't know what happened to you. It's sad. The reason why my mama was forbidden to do that because my father said, you are representing me as well as yourself. as well as your children. Raheem, blessings to you. You got Jones. If you Jones, you got to be somebody. Oh yeah, man. The tidy whites. Come on, man. So, what's next? Well, today, this week, we see where Paul Morton strikes again. But we got to flip the script this time. And here's what happened.
Bible that tells us that these things are happening over and over again. And what are we going to do about the things that are happening over and over again? The Bible, then and now. There may be one, and you're here without Jesus Christ in your life. What must I do to be saved? Just believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and you shall be saved. There's decisions that you need to make in your life. All of you musicians, y'all stay in while I'm teaching. Y'all need the word. Where y'all going? What you doing? I don't like that. This ain't no show. We are all growing in the Lord. Don't do that no more.
Okay. Let's analyze this. There are two videos out there. That's this one and the one I believe Larry Reed put on his Facebook wall. The one that Larry Reed put on his Facebook wall is only, I don't know, how many seconds is it? 20? It's less than a minute. Is I don't know, 30. I don't know. It's less than a minute. So it don't show all of this beginning. Okay. It only shows the end. So many of us is doing a type of rebuttal to what he said, because it looked like he was getting ready to preach and the musician started to walk out. But when you see the whole video, now Antonio Brooks gave me the short version. Brooks, did you know that this version was there? So when you look at this version, it looks like he was getting ready to go into altar call. It looked like he was getting ready to go into altar call, and the musicians who were already in the sanctuary, the organ player went over there to the organ. You didn't know, Brooks? Yeah, the organ player. This is the Sirwalterj Jones Research Department, man. We tight over here. The B3 guy went over to the organ. Marvin Price said it earlier. It was the altar call. And then the other guy went over to his instrument. Bishop turns around and he sees them walking. It looks like they are walking out. It looks like they're walking out. So he rebukes them. So now we got to figure out, how do we examine this video? Ruth said, Sir Walter watched Larry Reed. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Brooks gave me a video from Larry Reed, and it was that short. That's all I could take of Larry Reed. It's hard to stomach that, brother. That should never have been said out of public. Yet Bishop Morton should have a meeting. Yep. Okay, now let's talk about these points here. Let's talk about these points here. All right. Tam. Yeah. First point. If he thought that the musicians were walking out, okay, I can see why he did what he did. Now, we don't know the backstory. I'm getting there, Milam. There you go. We don't know the backstory. Was this addressed before? Number two, did the musician have a habit of walking away? If this man got to the point where he needed to address this openly, there's a possibility that the musicians had a habit of walking away and he could not take it anymore. He did the right thing if he had addressed it. But if he has never addressed the musicians walking out, then he got caught in a moment that most of the musicians in my circle have been caught in at one time or another. Pastor, you never brought that up to me. I didn't know that doing this was incorrect. Before he called them out, he keeps looking back, signaling them that they were distracting him. You mean them? Okay. So Price is really examining the video. And I saw him look back, but when he looked like he was doing the altar call, he looked back at the sign. Looked like he looking back at the sign, but it looked like he was looking back at the musicians to tell them to get ready. That's what it looked like. But then it exploded. So Milam says he's sure it's a habit. This was something they did all the time. He got caught in the moment because he was turned. Yes. It could have waited, Keith says. The problem is he thought too many times mistakes are Phillips. Okay. So I do, like y'all, have the mixed emotion about it. Let's see what Evans says. He was about to extend an invitation to Christian discipleship, and they they were not in their place. Then they came in again. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm seeing, Evans. Now, they were off to the side, so I don't know where they were, but they were close enough, seemed like, to be with their instruments. So I don't know, y'all. This is like that dress that they was wondering, was it blue or was it white or whether it was purple. Remember that purple? What was the other color of that dress? Remember that thing? Okay. This looked like that same thing. And this is why in a court of law, when videos are presented this way, you've got to try to figure out, okay, these jurors see one thing, but these jurors see another thing. And the only people really know what happened were those in the house. So Benny Johnson, this is why I never leave my post of duty. I never do. I never leave my post of duty. For the 20-something years I've been at my church, I never leave. Sometimes I gotta pee. I don't go. I just don't. That's my training. But these young musicians, what I've noticed, and I'm not saying that's what these guys did, but what I've noticed is soon as the preacher gets his text, he takes a text, the musicians, they grab their phones, because the phones is always in their hands. They grab the phones and then they go on. They either going to the restroom or going outside, they're going to doing something, and they stay out until they think they know when that time is. And sometimes they may hear a tune or I don't know. And then they come rushing back in. Now that is going on all over Chicago, all over America. That's just something that's been going on in not all churches, many churches, right? But then we got this situation. Number one, it seemed bold that the musician walked behind the man on camera, and that's what got y'all's emotions riled up. Yes. That's what you got y'all going. I know the backstory, but would rather share with you. All right, thank you, Evans, because I need to talk to you anyway. I need something from you. So yeah, let's talk. There's something that I lost and I need to get back. Let's talk. No matter what happens, you should never address your musicians in front of the church. It should always be a yes, waiting on the king. True. I wouldn't say never though. I wouldn't say never. Because if the musicians do something openly that is egregious, then you need to do open rebuke. I agree with that. You need to do open rebuke. All right. So this is not a show to protect all musicians because some of them are rascals. They really don't care. They just come there and get that money and they out of there to go to the next gig. All right. They don't care. Then there are those who love the church. They come there, they work hard in rehearsals. They sweat. And then y'all bump them. Y'all get the shouting, y'all get the squalling and hooping and what have you, and they sweat, they work hard, and they built up this ability to play for you, and then for you to embarrass them for something minute. Now that's ridiculous. So we've got to look at the whole picture, and we have to look at it in a subjective attitude. again, I'm telling y'all from a musician's point of view. If you're not a musician, you will never understand what we go through. You won't understand it. During my 10-year music ministry, there was a standard in a place. Yes, the church is soft. If God's house is being disrespected, and there you go, Marvin Price. That's my point. Yes, every musician has the right to refresh themselves, but what place of employment allows you to hang out in the basement, bathroom? Yep. I'm telling y'all. I'm telling y'all, this is good. Often musicians, singers get out of video frames so that the preacher is the only thing. Nally, she's another extraordinary musician. All things must be done in decency. True. Such a seasoned man. That's if he spoke on it. I'm sure there was some confusion. Yes. Yep. He is very seasoned. Yes. Kojic, Bishop openly. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at this. This was a situation that we all are trying to figure out. Now, one here said, Affairs Evans says he know the backstory. So what we see on the video seems like he's ending this service. He's doing the altar call. The musicians are getting in place. He turns around and he thinks they are leaving or disbanding. It looks like before they got on the stage, he did turn around, like the brother said. That's what we see on this video. You don't see any of that on the Larry Reid video, which looks like he just openly rebukes them for leaving. And most people said, thank you, Paul Martin, for doing that, because we get tired of the musicians just up and leaving. So if we only had that video, then yes, Paul Morton was correct, especially if it was addressed. If it was addressed and you did it again, it should be open rebuke. So that it would be a message to the rest of y'all, don't do this. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Well, if they were getting in place when he asked the musicians where they were going, why didn't they respond? Hey, man, listen, I've been rebuked like that and became a deer in headlights. What do? We talking Paul Morton. Number 2, his name is on my check. What do? So he says, don't leave. Where you going? You need to stay in the word. So they didn't move. So it looked like they were already in place. So that looked like a big confusion. Now Paul Morton's going to do a retraction, not a retraction. He's going to do a statement on this. Trust me, he's going to make a video on this and he's going to tell y'all what happened. The other musicians have probably, I'm sure by now, already did their videos. All right, so Sirwalterj Jones is here trying to give y'all the psychological aspects of what happened. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? This is not a message of what's right or what's wrong, but what is. That's what my show is based off of, what is. Look at the big thing, the big picture, and a great counselor are the ones who don't try to give you the answer to what's right or the remedy to how to fix your problem. A great counselor, as I learned, is the one who tries to help you come up with the answer. Here's the scenario. Here's another scenario. Now, what are you going to do about it? Huh? What you gonna do? Craig said, you licensed. Service wouldn't be the place to debate with the person. Yes, Jenkins, that's my whole point. There's no way I would respond. They scared him. That's, yep. A pretty lady. They leave all the time and they coming back on time almost like, yeah, Benny. So that's the point of what y'all saying. I agree with. Musicians should never leave their post of duty unless they absolutely have to. If you need to go to the restroom, go to the restroom. But my father, when I was young, said, go to the restroom when? Can y'all put it in the comment section? Because he didn't allow none of his boys to walk. Do you understand? Before you leave the house, you went to the restroom and he made sure of that. And when you got to the church, if something happened between the house and the church where you was drinking so much water in the car, then you go to the bathroom at the church right then. But when you went in that sanctuary, you held your liquids. So what the service was 3 and 4 hours, you held it. That's just the way it was. And that helped me in corporate America. Do y'all not understanding that the church actually helped me to be disciplined when I got a job? When I left college and got hired at a CPA firm here in Chicago, the church helped me to be disciplined, how to respect authority. The church did that. Keep your feet in the house of God. Joe Hobbs, good to see you. Bathroom after offering, and it better be 5 minutes. Come on, Mel. Come on. I went to Bishop Brazier hired me for a service. Oh, it's many years ago. And I'm playing for the service. He had me to play for the youth service, and I'm playing for the service. And then they do this little thing where they put the screen up and then they teach, and then I went to go relieve myself, and I got caught up in a conversation with somebody who was trying to figure out who am I and why they enjoyed my playing, and they begin to tell their story, and I hear music playing, and I realized we were talking for over 30, 40 minutes, and I hear music playing in the service. I'm like, and I rush back into the service, and they had to play something because I wasn't in my post of duty, and I'm supposed to pick up a check after this. I said, this ain't gonna never happen to me again. That could have been a catastrophe. Thank God Bishop Brazier wasn't in that service. He was in the main sanctuary, and I was like, so I said, okay, I got it. Turn the PA down, turn me up. I was so embarrassed by that. So y'all musicians, man, y'all better stop holding that P. God, yeah. And musicians at CAG, what's that? Are aware of the time limits to which Bishop Morton tried to. Okay, CAG, that's his church, the name of the church. Okay, I'm trying to tell y'all, if you're not a musician, you won't understand. Lucy, that's right. Great foundations. So what if a musician is on diuretics or meds that causes camp? The pastor would know that. Morton would not have rebuked that brother because he would have known. He would have known that. I would not fire them. But the open statement was okay because it was, yes. Yeah. I've played for the churches in my youth. It is hard to sit there for long periods of uncomfortable benches, not neat. Yeah. Break. Yeah, that's true, Valerie. I hear you on that. Anyone that goes to the New Orleans or Atlanta location know that Bishop Morton Church has a countdown clock. See, that's good. My sons knew not to play with me with. Yeah, that's good, y'all. Now, to you pastors, can I say this to you? And I'm hoping that you'll be offended by it. Here's my turn to try to help the musician out. Listen to me. If you're not a musician and you're a pastor, I'm going to need you to study. Not how to play, but study the mindset of musicians. Find out who they are. Get to know them a little better. Because when you spend a lot of your time rebuking the musician also sat there and have to listen to some of the worst sermons in American history. Number two, they ain't learning nothing from your sermon. That's one reason why they look at it as a gig and they don't really want to come, because there's no base. It's baseless. It's out. It's out of. There's no true hermeneutical background. There is, you're always talking about prosperity and my haters, and the musicians are sitting there, they on their phone because you are not engaging enough for them to learn nothing. And then you make them suffer by sitting there forever for you to finally get to your point after you done sold all your books in the first 30 minutes of your opening. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking to the pastor right now because I know y'all want to beat up musicians, but let me protect the musician right now. You are overboard with your antics, and then you collect 6 offerings in that service, and those brothers got to find 6 different songs. Do you hear what I'm saying? You require too much for the brother or sister. You understand? Thank you for cutting out testimony service, because we got tired of the sister in the back talking about her private parts in the service. You understand what I'm saying? Come on, Price. It's ridiculous. The musicians in there working hard through praise and worship and doing the choir singing and doing it, or if y'all got testimony service, because many of the churches in the South still have testimony services, okay? And so the musician got to learn all of he got to play in the key of Obadiah and the key of ZZ minors, okay? He got to do all that stuff while you sitting in the pastor's study. You ain't in the service. You in the study. We got to put up with all that. And then you finally come out there and then you want to lord over the people by making us, now we got to jump up because you had something to say. Now we got to move because you tell us to move. We got to say amen because you say amen, but you wasn't in the trenches with us. This is boot camp and you sitting back there. I don't know that I can't see where in the scriptures where the priests and the Levites were in the study while the people were worshiping God in the temple. I don't see that nowhere. When they dedicated the temple, everybody was there. That a cloud filled the place, and then we couldn't stand to even minister. So preacher, pastor, you putting too much on the brother. And in some cases you're not paying them enough, but you making them do over and beyond the call of duty. And then they got to be at all of the nights of your revivals and your tent services, your conventions, the ushers got to meet and the musicians got to be there. Everybody got a meeting. The deacons got their service. The musicians got to be there. The security got a service. The musicians got to be there. And you got, like Lloyd says, and 10 praise breaks. They're exhausted. The drummer didn't even set his MP to even get to that. The MP, it got a battery in it. That's the drum machine, y'all. It got a battery in it because they're in an area where they're too far from the wall and they can't plug it in because the church did not supply the proper cords, and so he had to put a battery in his. And then y'all got 20 praise breaks, and before you know it, the battery then went and died. And that was a Duracell. You understand? And then you bring some singer there, and the singer want to tell the musicians how to play. We tired. Then you hold service all day, and then you do an offering. It take you 20, 40 minutes to do an offering. For what? Get to the word. We tired. And then you want us to keep playing after service while the people leave there. We tired. We hungry too. You understand? So lay off on the musicians. All the musicians ain't that rowdy. Some of us need a break. You take a break. You go on vacations. You should pay us for vacations. Pastors, do me a favor. Every now and then, give the musicians a paid holiday. Do you hear me? Every now and then, give them a paid holiday and give them a Christmas bonus. do that. My church did it for me for years. They said, Brother Jones, I heard you're going to be out of town this weekend. Yeah, I gotta, I want to go see my family. And, I'm just, and my church would be like, here's your Sunday's pay. You've been working every Sunday all year. You don't take days off. You want to go see your family? We're going to pay for it. That's my church. And to this day, they still do that. Oh, Brother Jones, you need to go? No. Say no more. Bishop Moody, God rest his soul, I had an office at the church on the 3rd floor. And I would go out of town because I just need to get away. I need to go see my family. I need to go do something. Even if it was a gig, I just had to go to a gig. Okay, I just need to go, Bishop. Opportunity is opening, and I would miss a Sunday, and I would come back to my office when I came back, and I would open the door, and there's an envelope sitting on my desk. This happened so many times I can't count it. There's an envelope there, and I'd open it up, and it'd be a check for several $100s. You hear what I'm saying? And it'd be from Bishop Moody. Son, I love you. And we want you to know we can't afford to pay you like we want to, but will this help? Why y'all think I've been there for 20 years? Huh? What? My church couldn't afford to pay me. The other churches was offering me several $100s more than my church. I didn't care about that money. I love my church. And when the chips were down, when the monies were a little low, I'm like, don't pay me right now. When the monies get better, you can take care of me then. But I love my church, and we are in this thing together. Why should I be making y'all do 20-minute offerings and extra offerings because you need to pay the musician? That's ridiculous. Somebody didn't budget properly. So you musicians have a heart. If you see that the church is suffering financially, do something about it. Somehow, some way, help them out. You'll get yours. I got mine. I said, wait. Just wait. Things are going to get better. And the summer months were the harder months because the people went on vacations and they didn't give any offerings. They didn't leave their offerings behind. They went on vacation, so the offerings were low in the summertime. Help. We in this together, y'all. That's old school way of talking, y'all. You new blood. You don't understand that. Don't dry up the well. When the church is suffering like that, don't dry up the well. Find a way to help them out. All right? Now, COVID came here, shut your churches down, and it showed y'all a very important thing. You know what COVID showed y'all? That y'all can actually have a service for 1 hour. 1 hour. All last year, our service was 1 hour. That said something to all y'all churches out there. Number 2, guess that's what it said. It showed us that you don't need a 30-minute offering time. The offerings picked up during the pandemic, the shutdown. More churches made more money during the shutdown than they did years prior. So you don't need to beg and prod and plead, and you don't need $100 line, the $50 line, the $25. You didn't need COVID showed y'all you didn't need long lines, and you didn't need to be in church for 3 and 4 hours. COVID showed y'all. Come on, Price. Man, you helping me today. We went virtual, and the whole world then heard the gospel, and they began to donate to the ministry. 1 hour. We can do this, y'all. What time is it? 10 o'clock? Public service announcement.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
10 o'clock, y'all. Where your kids? Huh? Where your kids? Where your kids at? I know where mine is. One is here. I saw Walter Jr. here in the comment. My daughter Rebecca's upstairs, and they grown with kids. Where your kids at? I know it's the East Coast. It's 11:20 something over there. In Chicago, it's 10 o'clock. That's the way I came up. Lucy said in bed. Come on. All right. You got any questions? Hit me up. My podcast. See, Rebecca's here. Rebecca said, I'm here too. Come on. So I'm starting my podcast. Not tomorrow. I'm starting it the following week because I'm in Miami. What? Working. I gotta work. Musicians. I know I saw you, clock keeper. I see you. She said 10:26. Yeah. I did. All right. Now, I got to go to Miami to work. Musicians, let me help y'all out right quick. The rest of y'all can go home. I want to talk to musicians about money. Okay. All right. Now, this is a camera I have right here. Okay. Y'all, the show is over. Y'all can go. We talked about the brother. We'll pray for him after the show. Bishop and the musicians. We'll pray for them. All right. But this is for the musicians. If you got a musician, tell them to hang around. This is the after show. All right. This is a camera here. All right, it shows me everything around my little studio. All right, what is this? This is called a podcaster. This is a little thing. Let me move this stuff out the way. This is a little thing that I've been. Some of y'all have this at your homes already. Okay, and it's great for doing some of the things that you need it to do. All right, this is my RE20 microphone that I will be using for the podcast as well. Most of you, this is the Envato switcher here that I use for all of my videos that I do on my show right here. Okay, all right. I'm showing y'all all this stuff here is because prior to the COVID-19 shutting down, a lot of this stuff, except for this Rodecaster and this new mic, I bought a lot of this stuff before the shutdown. I bought it at a nice price on Amazon, not realizing that something was getting ready to come. All right. And I bought that stuff and sat it in the box because I knew that one day I was going to need it, but I was learning my craft. And then the pandemic came and shut stuff down, and everything in this studio here, they were price gouging like crazy. It was ridiculous. This box here, some of you musicians got this box. Let me see if I can get this around here. This box right here, this thing right here, I couldn't find this nowhere. I couldn't find that box nowhere. I went to Sweetwater, Amazon, B&H, all these places. They wasn't selling it. Back order for months and months and months. All right? I was buying that stuff. Why was I buying it? Because I refuse to rely on the church for 100% of my income. You musicians, are you listening to me? I need you to hear me. The rest of the people, they're gone. They shut the show off. It's just us. I refuse to live on one stream of income. I refuse. That's almost a sin if you're a musician. Some of y'all got great 9-to-5s. You don't got time for different streams. That's y'all's business. But if you're a musician, it's almost a sin for you to rely on that one church for all of your needs, and you got nothing to fall back on. And what happened? The governors shut the state down and told the churches, close your doors. And you found out after all those years of me preaching about your finances, then y'all began to play back my shows. Now, what did Brother Jones say back in 2017 and 18? And now, how did he say start? I told y'all this 4 years ago. Don't rely on the church 100%. It's going to let you down, either on purpose or by happenstance. And the musicians, many of them, lost their jobs. And they had to beg the government for help because you didn't plan. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. So what you need to do, I will be talking more about that on my future shows, my podcasts, and some of my YouTube channels on what you need to do. Now, it's never too late. Never. Ever. So you need to have at least 3 streams. You need at least 3 streams. At least 3. All right. So I wrote this book here. The second book dropped on Mother's Day. The third book is dropping on my birthday. The fourth book is going to drop in the fall. And then I funnel all this stuff. Yes, my book's on Amazon, but it can just sit there and do nothing unless I tell people about it. So what do? I funnel that into my shows. Very important. There's so many ways that you don't have to be relying. So next time you are playing and the pastors do an altar call and you want to get up and leave and you don't want to be embarrassed, well, you may be embarrassed, but at least if you want to just leave the place and go somewhere else, you can go to your own stream and survive. I'm a sound engineer at church, so when COVID hits, I was big demand. Hook it. Eric Curry, I'm so glad you're here. That's it. My brother Rodney is in high demand. He's a pastor. He started buying cameras and equipment and switches and all kind of stuff. And churches all around Chicago is begging him to come in. I see Milam here, another one. High demand. Plugging in, folks. There's no excuse. It's just no excuse. All right? So if you spend all your time on social media just putting up posts and wanting people to like your stuff, man, that makes no sense for people to be on social media that hard with all those followers and you ain't making money? You mean to tell me nobody paying you for being popular? Something's wrong. And still have a job. Come on, Eric Curry. I like you, man. Yeah, you trending. If y'all are trending and the trending ain't making you no money, I need you to talk to me. All right, y'all. God, I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your blessings. I thank you for the ministry of Bishop Paul Morton. Many, many years. Many, many years in the ministry. And now the wisdom of this man has caused him to step aside and turn his ministries, the Pentecostal and the local church, and allow these young men and the women as well to carry on the work. Thank you for the wisdom of Paul Morton. Continue to give him that wisdom and give him the things that he needs so that he might be free to preach the gospel, to win the lost, those inside the church and those on the outside. The musicians who are servicing many of these churches, help them. Teach them humility, but provide for them and their families. You have given them a gift. And this gift can sometimes put them in places that they don't want to be. They don't always want to play, God. But like a good chef who cooks, he tastes his own food first before he gives it to the patrons. Help us musicians to taste our own food first. Let us play under this anointing for ourselves first. So when we eat, we're able to pour in to others. Bless us, God, as we go and as we come. Help us, oh God, to be able to play skillfully so that somebody might hear the music played, and just like the prophet who required that the musician play so that he might be able to prophesy, let it happen again in our churches. Thank you, God, for the people. We love you. We'll give your name the praise, and the glory shall be yours in Jesus' name. Amen and amen, y'all. Thank you for hanging out here, y'all. I know I went a little long, but hey, that's what we do. That's what we do. You can hit the share button if you like, and the gospel will be preached all over the world if you do that. Yeah, Cynthia, thank you for coming. Ruth Chester, thank you. Eric Curry, thank you. Raheem Jones, I appreciate it. Phillips, the truth is a light. We should walk in it. I like that. Good stuff. Go to Amazon.com and type in type in Sirwalterj Jones, and you will see my books up there and be able to support the ministry, okay? See you in a couple of days, McDaniels. I'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, leaving Friday, and I'm going to eat good. As long as I'm in Miami, I eat good because Marlon McDaniels is there. All right, y'all, get some rest. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? All right, y'all, blessings to you. Hit the share button. Peace to you. I'm going to let my wife say good night to y'all. Good night.
Hello everybody, this is Alexa, Sirwalterj's wife. Thank you for listening to my man. Tune again tomorrow for the Sirwalterj Jones Show.
Well, goodbye. 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 Enjoy yourself. Bye. Goodbye. 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 Bye. Well, goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
Girl A. Sex is her superpower. This woman got skills, but adds no value to him. Girl B. Her brains and beauty is her birthright. She's his eye candy and his arm piece. Girl C. She's his mama, his teacher, his better half, his soulmate, and the apple of his eye. Girl D. She's dangerously desperate. She's his thin line between love and hate, and his fatal attraction. All that and more in the 7-volume book series, The Men's Chronicles, A Woman's Guide to Men by Sirwalterj Jones. Volume 1 is entitled The 4 Women That Men Desire. Go to Amazon.com today for your copy.